What's going on, everybody? We're doing a review today of the PlayStation 4 game Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Lord of the Rings, what more could you ask for? So I got, let's see, I got 10 different categories that I try to rank these things off of. I got graphics, soundtrack, sound effects, gameplay, storyline, cinematics, voice acting, content, pacing, and uniqueness. And then at the end, I gave an overall score, and the total for each category you can get up to 1 point, with in the end totaling to 10. So whatever score it gets is what it gets based on the gameplay. I have a PlayStation 4, just regular 500 gigabyte, not a PS4 Pro or any external hard drives. So that's what we're going off of for my review.
Look at them graphics.
Okay, so our next category is going to be graphics, first category of the 10. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor uses the Lithtech engine. I don't know much about the engine, honestly. I don't really care. I just care that the game flows and looks good. So playing through the game, I can say that the graphics are pretty good. Pretty good. If you like Tolkien and all that kind of stuff, then this is going to do you justice, especially being a Middle-earth game with a bunch of orcs. Bunch of unique orcs. A lot of the character models are super good. Especially the friendly allies and the orc and uruk allies. Even the Caragors are good, and the Grogs are good. The only issue that I saw, now again, I have a PS4, regular PS4, was the grass doesn't move sometimes when you're running through it, and that's not a big deal. And then also a couple of the war chiefs and or captains, when they're talking to you, some of them have weapon clipping, armor clipping issue. Like they'll have like a piece of armor right here, and then they turn and it comes through their head. But other than that, it's pretty good. And when you're riding around, there's no loading of the map. The load times are super good. So I didn't see any issues too much with the graphics. So for the graphics and for each detailed character model, I gave it a 0.9 out of 1, just because of the issues with the clipping. But other than that, it was pretty excellent. Okay, so soundtrack is the next category. Honestly, the soundtrack is pretty self-explanatory and it's pretty good. I had no issues. I think the composers was Gary Scheinman and Nathan Grigg. All these things I'm just doing slight research on because, like I said, the soundtrack for the game it's self-explanatory. It's either good or it's not good. So this is gonna get a 1 out of 1 because it is awesome everywhere you went. The soundtrack went perfectly with the game and helped you feel Tolkien-esque. Tolkien-esque. 1 out of 1. Sound effects. Know what I'm saying? Okay, so the gameplay of Lord of the Rings, or excuse me. See, you're in the mood now. We're in the mood. Shadow of Mordor is the game we're reviewing, and we're going to be reviewing the gameplay right now. So this is probably the favorite of all the categories for this one because the gameplay is like seriously fun. It's a good time. All the different times, all the different ways that you can cut Uruk's heads, and you can stab Uruks, and you can jump around. I can compare it to the Assassin's Creed games where you can kind of parkour through the whole place. And mission sets are a little different. There's stealth, there's bow, there's sword, there's a whole bunch of different things you can do during the gameplay, but the gameplay itself is pretty good. There's only, let's see, there's just a couple of issues with the gameplay, and that's all shooter's preference, I guess you can say, but let me show you.
Mantis, is there something I can do for you?
So, although those are cool, after an extended amount of time playing, when you have 5 different captains jumping on your back, and you have to take a 20-second pause to talk to each one before you re-engage in combat, it do get slightly annoying. But it's very unique to the game, so they did a good job with this. I'm very happy with the way it went.
Mantis! This is
So, the only other issue that I had with the gameplay, besides the immense fun you get to have cutting off orcs' heads, was the fact that when you're escaping from combat or trying to get away or trying to do something strictly, the environment kind of plays with you. Like, for example, when you're jumping around and you get stuck on something. Based on those two factors, 0.9 out of 1. All right, next up is the storyline. So it's a pretty basic revenge storyline. Talion's family gets killed. He wants revenge. So when he dies, he goes into like this purgatory state because Celebrimbor, who's a spirit elf, takes him over, and he's still in the regular world, but he's not, and he has Celebrimbor to help him, and Celebrimbor doesn't remember who he is. So you have to go around, find artifacts, figure out what's going on. Your ultimate revenge is the Black Hand, which is a pretty cool boss fight, and his little buddy, the Tower, is pretty fun too. Basically, there's a couple things I didn't like about the storyline, mostly because Smeagol was in it for about, I don't know, maybe 3 quests, 4 quests. He's there looking for the ring, and he helps you guys find artifacts, which does help you figure out who Celebrimbor is. But other than that, I don't think you really needed Smeagol, to be honest. Yep, I'm gonna say it. Fight me. Who else? You rescue the slaves, tear down the big statue of Sauron, and then you move from there. You go meet the witch, and that part's pretty good. I like that. Moving to the next part, the grassy part of Mordor. That part you meet the witch, who's pretty cool, and her daughter. There's like a tiny little love connection between the daughter and Talion. It's needed, I think, for sure. And then you meet this dwarf. So the only reason you meet the dwarf is to eventually find an artifact that finally tells Celebrimbor who he is. Other than that, the dwarf part is kind of inessential to the storyline because all he does is teach you how to ride a Graug, and he teaches you how to ride a Caragor. But both of these, except the Graug riding, you know how to do before you go over there. So I don't know. The dwarf part was a little unneeded, and then the war chiefs and the captains, although it's fun going around fighting them and getting people under your control, you only need it for the final battle, really. The one on the beach where you go and storm the tower. Yeah, and I wasted a lot of time just kind of getting achievements and fighting war chiefs, which makes the free play value of it fun, but not the storyline. So that's kind of what I'm going off of. So after that, um, yeah, after all that, I gave it a 0.8 out of 1. 0.8 out of 1 for the storyline. So I'm gonna knock out the voice acting and the cinematics both in one. Both very excellent. Both go well together. All the orcs have different voices, which is fun. And the cinematics are really good. The voice acting in the cinematics is good, where the characters are talking to each other. Really feels like the story's moving along. Everybody's having a good time. Feel like you're doing Lord of the Rings stuff, being in the Lord of the Rings, just missing the Hobbit feet. Next time. Next time.
Mantis!
All right, so I'm going to also do content pacing. both in the same category here. Content, there's plenty enough to do going around, fighting war chiefs and captains, finding different items, finding artifacts, finding pieces to your weapons. It takes a long time to get through all that, and then you can also continue the story, but it doesn't hinder you from doing anything. You can ride Caragors for fun. You can go around and do all the achievements before you even finish the storyline, so that's fun. Uh, yeah, then the pacing, there's a tutorial mode that can be turned on or off throughout the game, and you can have it on the whole game, so it just keeps reminding you. So they do a good job with helping new players out and making sure you're getting stuff done the correct way. Know what I'm saying? Look, for uniqueness, 1 out of 1. We both know, everyone knows, no one's ever played Shadow of Mordor or a game like it where you get to go run around in that cool Nemesis system where all the orcs are different looking. I've never seen a similar orc. They do such a good job of that. So yeah, don't lie to yourself and tell yourself that this is not a unique game and you've played something similar because you haven't. Besides maybe Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King on the PS2, the original. Holla at your boy. We're gonna give the Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor a 9.6 out of 10. Would play again. Would recommend to friends. Lord of the Rings or no ring.
Man filth.
It's not even scary anymore, I just want to murder them all.